Kay.
Hi, Trish.
Honey, I'm so excited. We've had so much fun recording with our dear friend Jon Reep.
I know. I love John. And you say dear friend because he is your dear friend. But, I've been out here on the road for so long and I've never met John. So I'm so excited about this episode.
I know it is shocking to me that y'all haven't met. You're two of my favorite people. And y'all, this episode was so good and we've had so much fun doing it that we are cutting it into 2 episodes so that y'all can enjoy just what a great human he is, but how much fun we had and all the things we got to know about him and what Jon Reep knows so far. So without further ado, here is part 1 of Jon Reep on What I Know So Far. Karen Mills, I'm so excited because we have one of my favorite human beings of all time on What I Know So Far today. And I'm saying that because when I said to you, hey, if we have this guy on, don't you think he'll be awesome? And you said, I love him. We've never met. And I said, what did you, I don't know how I didn't realize that you and Jon Reep, one of the funniest human beings I know, and you, Karen Mills, being one of the funniest human beings I know, had never met each other in the zeitgeist of comedy.
And we're both old road dogs.
What?
How can that be?
I mean, so to get this started right away, ladies and gentlemen, our amazing guest this week on What I Know So Far is the funny, I'll give you his credits till he's purple because I'm his cheerleader sister in life, the brilliant comedian, actor, podcaster, and truly one of the sweetest human beings I know. It is also funny as I'll get out. Ladies and gentlemen, Jon Reep. Woo! I mean, honey, we're so tickled to have you because you've had a lot going on. I've known you a long time, and you've had a lot going on lately, and I've got phones going off. I hope y'all didn't hear that. What am I new? I put it on D&D, but I don't.
This is your first rodeo test.
This is my first.
I've done that. That's happened to me so many times. Once, okay, can I tell you this one real quick? You guys have all had problems with phones going off in the show. I was on stage, phone kept ringing, and I was like, first time I let it go, I'm like, well, someone will hit the silence button.
Yeah.
Rings again, I go, all right, well, get it, answer it, do something, and it kept ringing, and they didn't answer it, and then I had a wireless mic. I said, well, I'm coming out there, and I walked out into the crowd, and I looked around, and it kept ringing. I found the table, and it was in a jacket pocket. My jacket! It was my phone.
No,
I felt like
Jon.
Because I was berating the audience. I was like, you people don't get it. Why can't you just turn? Like, I was really like, I was not in a good mood that
Wait,
day.
are y'all hearing this while we're doing this right now? All the bangs?
I'm not hearing any bings.
Okay,
Not
good.
now.
As long as y'all can't hear it, I'm about to go in the other room and cuss my husband because apparently I'm on a group text with our friends who've grown homegrown cucumbers, and it's banging like a casino in my ear, and I've hit mute, I've hit do not disturb, and I didn't want y'all to be like, Jon's telling this great story, which is freaking brilliant, and I'm hearing casino dangs going off at the same time.
Hang on a minute. What were you saying, Jon? Yeah.
My question is, why was your jacket in the audience?
Oh, that's
It
a
was
good
on the back of a chair at a table where I was kind of hanging out with other comics. It wasn't a sold out show, sadly.
That's okay. We're not mad at that. We love that you were cussing everybody for your phone.
I know. I felt like the biggest douche. Telling people how to live their lives and berating people, then mine goes off. But no, I'm so happy to be here. And Karen, it's such a pleasure to meet you. I've been watching you all these years. I feel like we're two like you said, old road dogs, pirates out there, ships passing in the night. I'm probably at a place that you just were, and I'm
That's
happy
so
to meet you.
true.
And you were saying you were just in Chattanooga.
Right.
And, and I wasn't in town, but just happens all the time, though, where I will literally be leaving a town and somebody will go like, when you coming to Atlanta? And I'm like, I'm literally driving home from Atlanta, whatever the place is. And so
it drives me so crazy. It drives me so crazy. And sometimes I think people do that. I think they're messing with me because in my brain, obviously, I was there because it's all I've talked about for a week straight on every platform that I'm on. And now I'm leaving and I say, someone pops up, when you coming to Chattanooga? I'm like, I laugh at first, like, right. And they go, no, really. I'm like, how do you not know?
I was just there. Exactly.
Crazy.
And we can blame that on the algorithm because everyone doesn't see everything you put out. It's so frustrating.
And the best is when you take a cool photo, if you're doing anymore, unless you, like you said, Jon, if you're not doing like, hey, it's Jon Reep and I'm in Chattanooga, like you do it in 3 seconds or somebody's gone past it. Or if you do a cool photo, which Jon had posted this beautiful shot because he was at the beach with his wife on a beautiful trip. And I was like, that's so cute. They're cute photos. And he was joking about how he's a ginger now and is taken to being the man that has to wear a long shirt. And I was crying. But in the bottom, in the caption, he was like, hey, y'all, I'm going to be in Chattanooga. And you know how many dipstick people were going, hey, the beach is cool. When are you coming to Chattanooga? And I was like, oh, for the love of all that's holy, read they didn't read the caption, so they're just writing it in the comments.
Right. Is there a solution to this? I mean, Karen, you said algorithm is the problem, and I agree. And now we've got AI. I feel like somebody needs to write a program or something to fix this, because I don't know how many guys, I'm sure you got tons of followers across all your social media, and I don't feel like everything that I put out is reaching 1%, 0.1%.
Agreed.
No,
I'm with you. That's right. Unless you're having to have a team push it and push direct ads to get butts and seats. And then you're going, I don't get this. I'm not, Pearl Jam. I can't afford to have a whole team put everybody in the butts at the Ha-Ha Hut. I mean, come on, y'all. Yeah. It's wild. I'm with you, Jon. It's a different animal, which I want to get back to, because when part of what I know so far is that we, have people on that have done anything, everywhere, all the ways. And I know you've had such a cool, I love your career in comedy because you've got to do all the prongs, which I think is super cool. You really have. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people know. It depends on our audience would know. I know Jon and I met living out here in LA, which is amazing. And I was like, oh my gosh, my Ken. But Jon was on a very successful sitcom here on ABC, Rodney Carrington's show. Jon, brilliant. And I can go on and on. Hemi guy, all the things.
Yep.
Winner of Last Comic Standing, on. But I want to know for you, like, 2 things. One, what do you think you get stopped for the most, or when people are like, hey, aren't you, or do I know you from? Number 1. And then I've got another question.
Okay. Well, it's going to sound weird when I say, like, sadly, because I should be happy about anything, right? But sadly, it's a commercial. And I've done 6 national Dodge truck commercials for Dodge, and they don't die. And I mean, they stopped airing them, but it's the number one thing. And I think it's because the reason why I get recognized for that the most is because it was, they ran from 2002. I did 6 of these commercials. They ran from 2002 to about 2007 in a time where you could not fast forward through commercials.
Preach on that.
So, and it wasn't on just one thing. It wasn't on just HBO or whatever. It was on every network. It was everywhere. It was
everywhere. I was on a show at that time, and it was a commercial on the show I was on, and I'd always get tickled when you came on, because I'm like, it's Jon Reep. And I was like, I should be watching my own show. But it was one of the most memorable commercials, and you created an amazing character.
Yeah. I mean, thank you. I was, I started stand-up in 1998, quit my job in 98, did it full-time, just jumped into it. I was just featuring, making no money, living off my credit cards, and moved to LA in 2000. And then I got an agent pretty quick. And probably by 2001 or 2002, I got these commercials, but I had already done tons of stand-up, Premium Blend, Comedy Central Presents, and people kind of knew the face, but they didn't know the name. And then these commercials come out, and then my face is everywhere, and then they really know the face, but they don't know the name. So then when Last Comic Standing came around, my name was up there behind me on every time you do stand-up, or at the lower third, it says Jon Reep. So Last Comic Standing was probably what got me known more as a stand-up, whereas prior to that, I was just known as this goofy rednecky guy who leaned out of a duster and said, that thing got a Hemi.
But that Hemi helped buy a house, and we're not mad at that. We're not mad at that.
That's why that's why I felt bad when I said sadly it's a commercial, because I'm not as proud of that as I am things I've actually worked on, wrote, helped, my stand-ups, what I'm proud of. I'm the one who created it and come up with it and slave and go out and tour all over the place. Someone else writes, that thing got a hit 5 words and I say it out loud and everyone's like, yeah, that's the guy. I'm like, anybody could have done this.
No,
Anybody.
it's how you said it. It's how you said it.
That's right, Kay. Give yourself all the mustard, because let me tell you something. I would have never sold the Hemi the way you sold the Hemi.
Well, I tell you, I was sitting in this beat up duster in the middle of Palmdale, California, me and the other actor, Todd, and I was thinking to myself, like, wow, this is the first commercial I've been in. And this duster, I mean, it is hot. We had no air conditioning. I was nasty. I was sweating. I was the fattest I'd been in a while. And I had these big mutton chops, and I had long, crazy hair. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, no one's going to see this commercial. No one's going to know what a Hemi is. And even if they do, I'm going to look like crap. And this is how people are going to think of me forever. And I was thinking, this is a lose-lose. And I could not have been more wrong.
No, I'm so grateful you were, because I will tell you, to this day, I've been out places and I get tickled, and I'm not going to bring it up when I do, but I get tickled because you'll watch somebody completely. I've seen people picking up rental cars where I'm picking up rental cars and there's a Dodge Charger, name it, whatever's there. And they'll go, the husband will go, you want this one? The wife's like, well, it does have a Hemi in it. And I'm like,
yeah.
And I won't say anything, but I'm like, that's Jon Reep.
Nah. I mean, my I don't know, love or hate for that has come and gone so many years. I feel like Jimmy Walker from Dynamite.
Dynamite.
Because like I've always heard stories about how he doesn't want to say dynamite, but if you pay him, he will, or if you buy a t-shirt, he will. I've never met him, so I don't know how he actually feels about that, but I've heard these stories and I get it. I kind of get it, because at first I loved it. I'm like, here we go. This is great. I'm getting some money. People are getting to know me. I'm starting to sell tickets in these comedy clubs. This is going to be fantastic. Let's roll with it. And then, then it gets to be like, well, I did win last comic standing. People go, no, Hemi guy. I'm like, no, but I'm a comedian. No, the Hemi guy. I'm like, you've not seen my stand up. And then that gets on your nerves, because you're like, but look at all this other stuff I'm doing. I'm proud of this. But then you tolerate that. Something else happens. And then it all kind of goes away, and you're like, "Oh, wait a minute! No one, do you remember me? I'm the Hemi guy.
I'm the Hemi guy.
I'm the Hemi guy." Now let's speak on that. Unpack that, because you and I both have been in the position, which we're lucky enough to have been in, on really successful shows, and then it ebbs and flows. Right, things go away, and it does take a learning curve. Like, it takes a curve to kind of go, "Oh, okay. Wait a second." Yeah. If you're not parlaying that immediately into another series, or if you're like, I'm going to go do stand up for a second, and people are like, have people ever done this to you, John? We're like, you don't have how are you paying your bills? People have come up to me and been, yeah, I haven't seen you on TV. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Have you been working?
That one bugs me. And another one, and I don't know why these things bug me. I guess this is like, white people problems or something. I don't know. Like, I probably shouldn't be complaining about this whatsoever, but like, what bugs me is when someone go like, I'll be going live on TikTok or whatever, and someone will go like, are you still in Hickory? Which implies I never left. I'm like, well, hang on a minute. What do you mean still? I am currently in Hickory. Moved here 6 years ago. I was in LA for 8. And then it sounds like I'm trying to justify myself.
Yes.
To some stranger who just doesn't have the information.
No. And that's okay.
Not having the information, they bug me so much, because it's not their fault, but I get mad at them. I don't know what to do about it.
Do you read your comments, John?
I was just about to ask that, Kay.
I do, and I try my best to ignore the negative and reward the positive. Every now and then I'll find myself going at it, and then I go like, all right, what am I doing?
Ever fought with a bot?
Probably.
Yeah, I guarantee you have.
Yeah, I'm sure in the very beginning I probably have, but now I can kind of suss them out. Like, I know, like, it's like, hey, I got free tickets. I can't use them. Who wants to buy my tickets? I'm like, all right. Sometimes I'll, just for fun, in case other people are watching me in the comment section, and I see what I'm saying to other people, I will, if I know it's a bot, like this just happened in Chattanooga. There's these new bots that try to get money from people, like they're selling tickets, like they couldn't go to the show and they want to sell their tickets or trying to get money from people. And so what I do is like, me as the comic, I'm going, how much? You know, they're like, oh. They don't know, the people, the bot or whatever doesn't know they're talking to the artist that they're trying to scam.
No,
Right.
not at all.
So, but yeah, I'm sure, Karen.
Or stolen profiles. That's what you get a lot of times. Somebody hiding behind, like I was in it with Mildred one time, and then everybody on my Facebook page jumped on Mildred, and she was being hateful. And I thought, I'm going to go check out her. And so I clicked on her profile, and I guarantee you, she didn't even know she had one. Her granddaughter probably set something up for her, and she was quilting with her Bible study class. I mean, she didn't even know what we were talking about.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think the worst one for me, the guy, like, because you can send voice memos through Messenger, right? And some guy was just checking them. And I have this joke about Louisiana or whatever. I kind of diss it a little bit, you know. But I guess he got mad, and he left. He was drunk, good old boy, and he was cussing me out. Like, if I ever see you at a show, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this. And I played it for my friends on the podcast. I'm like, this guy, I said, watch, I can turn him around, because he doesn't think that I'll ever hear it. He doesn't think that I'll actually respond to it. And I did. And I said, hey, man, I'm really sorry about that. It's just a joke. You know, I was kind of goofing around. I actually think Louisiana's awesome. You guys are, you know, I'm kind of jealous of you. And then he goes, yeah, well, it's not that bad. And then we started talking, and I made a conversation with him. And I said, look, I turned him around. Now this guy wants to come to a show, wants to be my friend, you know, and I kind of want to go, just kidding. You know, but I didn't do that. But I kind of wanted to a little bit, you know. But yeah, I think 9 times out of 10, even if it's not a bot, they just don't think we're reading them. They don't know that we are seeing these and having reactions and emotions and trying to, you know, keep a poker face about it. But
well, and I think too, people take it, don't you now? And I maybe this is me, because we're Jon and I, we're both storytellers. Karen's an amazing joke writer. She's a great, like, immediate trim fat, not my gift set. Yeah, she's an assassin like that. Jon and I are story weavers. And a lot of times what we put on social media are clips of jokes, because we're not going to, as we say, burn our material. Meaning once it goes out into the world, we can't really do it again, because why would you want to come to a show and see a bunch of stuff you could see in your PJs in your bed? So I say that to say, Karen and I were talking about this. I put up the beginning of a story, which you both know well, about a guy I had dated that got shot deer hunting. You know, and I had to work the death. And it's just the beginning of the joke. It's the bridge to the joke, which was I went down to cold storage, pulled him out, and I tell the story, and I go, was my boyfriend from sophomore year of high school. Audience always gasps, and I go, no, that son of a bitch cheated on me. And it always does well, because, and I said, the Lord works in mysterious ways. When I tell you, people came in for me, and most people in the comment section, they got it.
Yeah.
You know, not their first day, but there are the select few that are like, my uncle was shot deer hunting when I was 2 days old. And I'm like, what in goodness name? Like, stuff that, and they're like, what kind of human are you? And I'm like, do you not think people read these? And ma'am, these are jokes. Like, you've got to let this ride. And I told Karen, I was like, I don't know what to do about this. It hurts my heart this person's in a ditch over it, but she didn't even know that uncle. And she's come at me like I'm a horrible person.
I know. Yeah, people just, they put their own life and situation into your stuff. It's the people that we like, honestly, like guys like us, girls like us out in the real world, don't even leave a comment. They watch it and go, they might not even like.
Yeah, they might not. You're right.
They just go, oh, that's funny. Did you see this? And then that's it. It's the fringe that like to get in there and go after it. But here's the pot. Speaking to the algorithm, you're right. You know, engagement helps boost and get your video shown more. So that's why I have been, like, the last year or so, getting into the comment section, go like, even if it's like a haha, thank you, I appreciate that, I'll be there next week, or what are you talking about, or just anything, just so I'm commenting as much as I can to just get the video seen more, you know. So in a weird way, I'm forced to read these comments.
Even people fighting on your page can get more engagement and get the algorithm to put it out more.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy.
Evil.
It
It's dark.
is.
It really is. It really is.
I wanted to ask too, Jon, what is your favorite place to play in this country?
Oh gosh, Nashville, Zanies, or Denver Comedy Works, or Atlanta Punchline, because I'm coming there this weekend.
Yeah, look at that. Well done, you, with that plug.
Used to be Good Nights Comedy Club when I started in
So
Raleigh.
great.
Yeah, it's not there anymore. They moved. I've not even been to the new one, and I'm going to Raleigh in December. I'm going to play the Improv there. So, but back in the day, Good Nights, one of those clubs like a Zanies or a Comedy Works, where mildly funny people could look like geniuses in that place.
Yeah, it's true. It was just Charlie Goodnight's was the place, man. Sandy DeParna. And was she managing when you were there?
She had just left when I started.
To go to
I met
Rascals.
her just at the end. Yep.
Yeah.
And I used to love it because they would book a lot of their feature acts from someone in New York. And you would get these New York comics that would hop on a bus or a train like a weirdo and come down to Good Nights and, cocky and confident, thinking, oh, I'm going to show these hillbillies what a real stand-up is like. And I just watch them eat.
Oh,
so fun.
it is. It is exciting. I always say too, or when people underestimate you in the opposite, when I'd go to Caroline's or Gotham and you're in Comedy Cellar and you're in New York and they'd be like, I'm going to watch her go in a ditch. And I would just go, and I'd get up there and just have a time, because what I know for sure is people just like people that are honest. And so I'd always, thankfully, even Boston Comedy, do you all remember that club in New York? It was Barry Katz's room. And Boston Comedy Club.
Yeah, I never played that one, but I know of it. It was very popular.
Yeah, it was great. And I loved playing it because people would always like, oh, she's going to eat it. And I'd have a time. I was always so grateful. Like, people were so kind to me. But you'd see all that.
I got to speak kindly of you, too. I remember living in L.A. Like, I moved there in 2000. I forgot what year you got there.
Honey, I got there in 97.
97. So she had a 3-year head start on me.
Yeah.
And I remember someone through the grapevine was telling me, because they saw me and I'm Southern or whatever. They're like, oh, do you know Trish? Do you know Trish? Do you know Trish? I'm like, no, I've not met her yet. I haven't seen her. And then one day I'm in the back of the Improv, and here you come. And your hair was up.
Jack to Jesus, I'm sure.
You were doing it. And I'm like, okay, let's see. I can't wait. Everyone's been talking. I want to see what this is. And you crush. And it made me so happy to see someone else who sort of sounds like me be able to win over a room full of high hipsters.
Hipsters. Isn't that the truth, Jon? Thank you.
Yeah.
I know it's a hard place. And I think this is another thing in what I know so far for sure. I took a lot of diction classes because my accent used to be thick as mud. Like, now I call myself TV Southern in the sense that I can dial it up and dial it down.
Yeah.
I did find out now from the kids, from the Gen Zers, that's called code switching. I said, oh, hey. I was like, I didn't know I was doing all that. But I had to learn how to take it down enough, almost like an Australian speaking with an American accent. I'd have to consciously think to speak with a little less of an accent. And I do it from time to time when I realize people, like if I say iced tea, people look at me and I go, I'm sorry, I need an iced tea. Like, I have to think it through, or I say, oh, and my husband kills me. Jace laughs at everything I say because I don't put a L in most words. I use a W. So I'll say, oh my Lord, I'm so cold. Or I got to run to Whole Foods. I don't say Whole Foods. And he goes, your Kentucky show's so hard because you don't lose it. Everything's a W. Code, Whole Foods. Yeah. And
I'm code switching.
I'm code switching. And I learned really quickly that I was just going to be me. A lot of people said, lose the accent, don't. And I was like, I don't know how to be something else. And I want to know for you, was that ever asked of you? Or did you always just go, forget it, I'm doing it just this way? Because for a second I was lost. I was younger and I thought, maybe I need to. And I was like, screw this. This is who I am.
Exactly. Well, I think for me, when I moved there, I started in Raleigh. I talk like this. I'm a guy from Hickory, and I didn't know I had an accent. until I left and went and did stuff. And then other actor friends, comedians are saying like, well, that's going to hurt you in commercials. So you should probably, so I started taking acting classes and this stuff like that. And then you hear people say like, you should dial it down if you can. And I think subconsciously I have over the years, but it's not because, it was mostly because I wanted to communicate properly with the people I'm around, not because I want a part, but I just don't want to be made fun of in this situation. I would just like you to go get the tea that I ordered and not you ask me what part of Texas I'm from.
Thank you. Preach on that. Could we get that cross-stitched on a pillow?
So I have to learn to enunciate just to get through the day. And then it just sort of maybe seeped in. You'll love this. I come home to Hickory to visit. I'm at a high school football game, my old high school, and I'm just hanging out. I'm seeing old friends I've not seen since high school. And this one guy, Eddie, and I love him. He's like, so we started talking, and as I'm talking to him, I sound different.
Sure.
Because I've been gone a long time. So as I'm talking, I can see his face is like trying to figure out if I'm putting something on or whatever. He goes, and I'll never forget what he said. He goes, "You sound different. I don't like it." I was like, Eddie, I'm not doing it on purpose. I don't know what you're talking about. You want me to do like this?
That's right.
I can. That makes you more comfortable, Eddie.
But isn't that the truth? Like, you understand.
But I didn't do it on purpose. But to him, it's way different, and I wasn't aware of it. So it's an unintentional code switch, I guess you could say.
Yes. And I think too, and answer me this, when I've been like, I'm shooting a new show, a home makeover show in the South right now, and I catch myself, my crew is Australian and Italian, and I will catch myself when we've been in deeper Alabama, North Georgia mountains. I can speak in natural Southern and communicate with people, and they're extra sweet, and they know I'm tending to them, and they're being nicer to us because I've got two Italians in Australia, and they're like, I don't understand a word coming out of their mouth. And I'm letting them know they're kind, but they genuinely can't understand them. And so it's literally like translating from country to English. Yes. And the crew was like, what are you doing? We didn't know you could talk like that. And I said, well, you just have to do a little bit slower, and you just let everybody wait for responses. Because they were like, why does everybody keep saying you're fine? And I didn't realize, as Southerners, like if we're walking in and out of a Kroger, right? Somebody's coming in the door and you almost got a buggy at them, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry. And they're like, you're fine.
You're fine.
We give people permission to and it wasn't even my fault. I was like, I know I'm fine. I'm coming in the door. And they were like, why does everybody keep saying that? I said, we're a very polite people as a people. So we just want to let you know you're fine.
Well, we do, and we're like, don't want you to feel bad about it. It was a mistake. So we're like, you're fine. Don't worry about it. But then if they don't say anything and just barrel on through, you're like,
they're hateful.
Well, yeah. What do you mean? What are you doing?
Well, rude.
Yeah. It's funny. Well, that made me think of when I first moved to LA, I had a roommate named Joe Stevens, and he was an actor from Texas, and he's been in a lot of Westerns. And he was in a movie. I mean, you'd know his face if you pulled up Joe Stevens, you'd see. But not a comedian, just an actor. But he he also taught diction to, he did a movie with Michael Caine.
Oh, wow.
And Michael Caine had to try and work on sort of a Southern accent. And he said, Michael Caine, you know how Michael Caine talks. Every word he said, think of it like dominoes. In the English, in London, England, or whatever, you guys, your words are dominoes, and they don't touch each other. Each word is pronounced and, pronounced exactly the way that it's supposed to be. Every letter is pronounced. But in the South, each domino kind of falls on the other one.
That's so true.
Explained it that way to Michael Caine, and then that's how Michael Caine kind of, I forgot the name of the movie it was, but there's a Western that he did where
we're going to look that up. But I'm going to tell you right now, that's the best explanation I've ever heard of how we talk. It's like a wave.
Right. It's all one continuous sentence, but over there, every word is a little space in between each one.
It's so true. I'm in pure fascination right now.
Look up Joe Stevens.
I am. Look at me. I'm over here doing
He
all that.
was my roommate for about almost 2 years. And then he got mad at me because I didn't refill the ice trays.
Stop.
And I saw in anger, and I'm like, I got to get out of here. This dude can snap.
Over ice trays.
Well,
You
they-
didn't say you're fine.
You're fine.
Did
No,
you
I
ever
know
feel-
him. Oh my gosh, I know him.
Yeah, he was. Do you see True Grit with the new True Grit, not the one with John Wayne,
Yeah.
the new one with
Yeah.
that guy?
Yeah. Barbara Streisand's husband, Stein, wasn't it? Or no, it was Jeff Bridges, wasn't it? No, or was
Jeff
it?
Bridges.
Jeff
Yeah, it was
Bridges.
Jeff Bridges.
So Jeff Bridges is in court. I mean, this is just what I'm thinking of. He was a lawyer that was grilling Jeff Bridges in court. Is one of the many things Joe Stevens has done, but he, yeah. So I learned that from him. But yeah, now that I'm back in Hickory, North Carolina, and all these dates that I had to fly to otherwise when I lived in LA, and now I can drive to. It's
Well,
like,
most LA comics have to come out in Middle America to work.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Very
100%.
true. I have to schedule, living in Atlanta for me was best of times, worst of times, right? I moved during COVID. So I was there during the time that no one could really work. So there you are. And then it was that weird moment of, okay, I'm more of a California. I always say I put the Southern in Southern California. I just need the lifestyle and the mountains and the ocean. And, but I'm country as cornbread. I like to go into town for supplies. I don't need to be in the mess. So there's this weird dichotomy, but I'll tell you, I miss when I come in doing shows like that. You can go from Atlanta to Chattanooga to Charlotte. You can go and kind of use one place as a home base, and you're going, oh,
Yeah.
well, you can cover some ground.
Cover
I'm
some
in
real
Chattanooga.
ground.
I can get to Nashville, which is booming in comedy right now. I mean, that's the
Yes.
place. In Atlanta and, Birmingham, I can get anywhere in a short period of time. And Charlotte's not
Yeah.
far. So, there's just so much. But when you first started, were either of you, for that matter, did you feel intimidated about your Southern accent and feel like, were you, did it hurt your confidence worrying about what other people thought about it?
Yeah, a little bit, but again, I didn't know I had one until I'm out of the fish out of the water and I'm in new water. I'm thinking, oh, now people are kind of laughing at me on a way that I don't like.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
They're like laughing at how I sound, not the words I'm saying, and
Right.
it's distracting. And so I felt like in LA, every time I go on stage, I have to address this
Yes.
just to let them know I'm aware of what you're thinking. Here's my joke about it. Permission to move on now.
Right.
Correct.
But it did, yeah. So it did. It's a little because it's got such a negative stereotype of like we're dumb. Like Southern accent is dumb.
100%.
And I went to New York. First time I went to New York, I felt very self-conscious about it. I was afraid everyone was going to think I was stupid. I had in my mind that because people lived there in New York, that mean they were better comics, that they were better just because of where they were. And that's what I have learned so far is that I got there and I'm like, I need that. You are better comics. Geography means nothing.
That's
that
so
does
true.
Not, that
I
does not
find
make
that
you
to
better.
be true too, Kate, because I think in my head, I just didn't like New York as like a place for me to live. It was too much, concrete and city for me. I was like, that'll freak me out. I need mountains and water and all the things. So LA just always seemed like the only option. It wasn't like I'm going to be an LA comic, and then being in the world of it for so long, and I try to explain to younger comics coming up, it's just like high school. There's freshmen through seniors, where everybody falls in that rodeo. I think, and maybe that's just because I sit in experience seats now. What I know so far is I feel like we're maybe a little bit kinder, our senior class than our senior class when we were freshmen, because we have a lot more empathy for what it takes now to be a really solid comic and still be in it. Real comics that are still in it, I believe, it's you love it. You have to love it. You have to have a genuine love for it. I never got in going, I'm going to have my own show. It would be cool. That would be really cool. But I had to love it from, you know what I mean? From a place of, if I'm stepping in this dance, it's saying like, maybe I'll be found. No. So I tell comics now that I'm like, if you just think you're funny, go ahead and just do TikTok videos. You'll probably do better. Because this takes, and I don't mean that hateful. It's a lot easier to be funny in your living room and edited it. And that ran away from me. But it's definitely a different animal to make that connection. And I think there's something really special about the senior class of comics now, that there's some that are still a little spicy and hateful, and are like, you don't know how hard we worked. I'm like, yeah, I did. We all did. Give these people a little grace, because we didn't
John,
get grace.
Aren't you seeing that, all these people that get tours based on their TikTok videos and the followings they get there, and then they get out in theaters and they don't have an act. They've just been doing all these videos, and that's what people have to understand. It takes chops to do stand-up. You can't just do a dance video in the driveway and think you can do
put a filter on your
tour.
face that makes your voice crazy, and then expect people to be like, they're hilarious. I'm like, wait, what?
But, then get that filter live. Let's see how that works.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I have like different schools of thought, like, because on one hand, I'm thinking, well, don't hate the player, hate the game. This is a different ball game.
Good.
When I started out, there was no internet, and had there been one, I probably would have done some stupid videos first, because that would have been easier.
100%.
But I didn't have. Yeah.
But you still have a way to back it up. I'm not talking about anybody can. I don't begrudge anybody doing
Make a crazy
anything.
video. I applaud you.
Yeah. I'm just saying it. You got to have something to back that up. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with you. And what it's doing is it's kind of hurting stand-up comedy as an art form, because people who have never been to a stand-up show will go see their favorite TikToker and then walk in there thinking, this is going to be great because I love this person on TikTok. I didn't even know we had a comedy club. Here's my first time in a comedy club. And then they see this TikToker eat crow.
Yep.
I don't know if we can cuss. And then, okay, eat shit. And then, and then they look around and then they think, well, I guess that's what it's like all the time. I guess that's what they're all like. They don't even know what a good stand-up could be, because we're not, dancing, on TikTok as much. But
and the other point that I want to make about stand-up is, just because you're funny at a water cooler doesn't mean you're a stand-up. People are always saying, "Oh, you're hilarious. You should do stand-up." Okay, come on. You want the mic?
Yeah.
When I tell people all the time, I love that. I want that for you. Like, I want, if it's really, and I'm never, because people go like, people tell me I'm the funniest person at my insert here, and I'm like, great. I'm tickled for you. Get up and do some open mics. And then they go, well, what's that? And I go, well, just because you're funny for 5 seconds in your house with no audience, that's not the same as a room full of people that have no relationship to you whatsoever. They didn't hit a follow button. They don't know you from a can of paint, of you getting up and being as authentic as you know how to be and having them meet you where you're at. That, my friend, is a comedian. And really good ones, you don't even know they just did that to you. Well,
and even if you're hilarious with your friends, there's still, you have to go through the process. You can't just jump on stage and think you can do an hour. But
it's not me. Who is that?
That's my. If I hit mute on my computer, I won't be able to hear you.
You can hit Do Not Disturb on your phone.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I thought one would have been enough, but this guy's on the tear right now.
Don't you love that when people send you one word text and you're like, dear Lord, just give me a paragraph.
He's not stopping.
He's got a lot to say. He is very busy.
Hide alerts. There we go. Thank you. Have you guys experienced this one yet, where you're headlining, you're doing a show, you're doing your meet and greet, and different people are coming up to you, and then there's maybe a crowd of people that are together, and the funny one of their group feels like they have to out funny you at the table, and what do you do? I used to be like, go toe to toe with them just to let them know I'm still in charge. This is me. I mean, you might be funny for them, but now I got body. So it's coming through.
Do not disturb. Do not disturb.
Yeah. Well, it's on my phone. Do not disturb.
Oh, and it didn't go to your
through my computer.
It should do not disturb to your phone. I mean, it should.
Over here.
See
if I can do it on this.
I love you.
I got my buddy JJ's trying to make me talk about this.
Maybe you should text JJ and say stop till I call you.
Yeah, JJ, I'm on a podcast.
We're done. Okay.
Okay.
Now, how's that happened to you there where you had to deal with that?
Yeah, I've had people that love to come tell me all the ways they are associated with me, be it like if they've known me from clean house, if they know whatever way they have an association with me, and then they tell me how much better they are at what I do. And I'm like, what's happening? Like, because you're going, thank you. Like, you don't know, like, they're like, I'm painfully organized. You've done some stuff where I thought, and I'm like, what's happening? What is this like an OCD off? Like, it's okay. We all have our things. I'm proud of you, girl.
Yeah.
It's wild and I have had people that are like, the worst for me are the two most uncomfortable comments, which are, hey, let me tell you something. You can use this in your act. I know we've all heard that where I'm like, please stop. Can I stop you right there? Like, let me stop that. And when people come up and go, you're pretty funny for a female.
Oh, yeah.
And that's been said to me, today years old. That's been said in 2024. And you still just have to sit.
Who says that anymore?
They're just people that they are unwell. They are unwell amongst society. I was like, no one says that to their doctor, their accountant. They're, go, hey, you killed them taxes for a female.
It's usually probably some dumb rednecky dude.
It's always somebody that just feels like I should be tied to a stove making pancakes for a plumber. So
the first offense I take in that sentence is not female. It's pretty funny.
Oh, I know. If you'd at least given me hilarious or you killed me for
yeah.
Same here, guy. Pretty funny.
Yeah, pretty funny.
I just worked and tap dance on a Cheerio for 90 minutes.
Yeah. I don't like that. I don't like the one-uppers, the outdoors. Or I've had this one where someone will come up and go, it'll be like, you could tell someone was dragged to the show. Like they didn't know who I was. They didn't want to come, but their friends made them come. And they'll come up to you like, I didn't even know who you were. Like, I don't even know who you are. And I go like, I don't know who you are either. And nobody. And after this, I'm going to go on not knowing who you are.
I might have to do that.
Already forgotten.
Yeah.
But do you zero in on that one audience member that's not laughing? I mean, do you, or can you ignore that?
Only if they're in the light. This happens at random clubs here and there. The stage should be, in my opinion, the only thing lit.
I
don't want to see long ends. Yeah.
Preach on that, Jon Reep.
So if the stage is coming out and it's, it's a square, and you've got people in front of you, which is where they should be. Sometimes you got people on the sides, right? The lights are coming this way, and their faces on the sides are lit. And so subconsciously, the people in the back who are looking at you face on, they're also looking at the people who are lit to see if they're laughing. And if they're not, that can ruin a show because it only takes one person in the light to be doing this to ruin it because everyone's like, oh, that person's not laughing, so maybe I shouldn't. Maybe it's not as funny as I thought it was. They start thinking about that stuff. So I've actually berated the clubs before, like, why are you lighting this guy's bald head? It's illuminating the whole area in the dark over here.
Well, and personally, I like a tiny bit of wash so I can see some eyes because it almost makes me dizzy if I feel like I'm looking into a black hole. But I know some people, Jim Gaffigan doesn't want to see anything. I mean, it's a spotlight and pitch black.
I want the first row. I need the front-facing first row so I can see some human heads, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I want to see a little bit, but like if it's the back of their heads that are lit, that's great.
No,
if their face is what's lit, like the people on the side, and some people don't know they can turn their chair. Like they'll do it because the chair's facing this way. They'll sit down and watch the show like this. And I'm like, that's what I'd be hurting your neck. Turn your chair on. You can turn the chair.
I always see this guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And why do they put him in the front row?
I
He's
know.
just, bless his heart, he's as aggravated as he could be. And he's usually in some kind of like team sport jersey that's ill-fitting. And you're like, my friend, I hate this for you. And he's just so uncomfortable.
I've had, I hate to say this, but I've had people fall asleep sometimes. It's usually like a late show Friday.
That's me during the late show that falls asleep, actually.
Oh, me too.
On stage. Yes.
Yep. I've had people fall asleep, and then that's kind of fun because then I get to go off script a little bit. I just, I like to do a little improv with those people, and just don't wake them up, and let's see if we can prank this guy some way. But that's distracting. If the audience can see that someone is, physically doing this, that's
you
not
like crowd work?
I'm comfortable with it now, but it took a long time to get there.
Yeah, I do.
Jon, I was going to say, I've seen you so good with crowd work. It's so subtle from you because it's so, you're such a storyteller that even good or bad, I've seen you just do that masterful. It's an art, don't you think? And I think it really is good crowd work, and you make it so subtle. Even if it's having to kind of reprimand, you're very gracious, and also like it's not my first rodeo, and I love watching you do it because it's like a master class.
Thank you. Yeah, it is an art, and it's something that you have to learn. I mean, you can't just do that great the first time. And for the first, I'd say 7 years, I was afraid to put my toe in that water at all. I try to make my act look like it's coming to my brain spontaneously. I'll ask rhetorical questions and then just not even care what their answer is. But then 7 years into it, I would be like, something would happen. I'd be like, okay, well, they're not listening to me because this person did this. And then I just remember it was like in between bits. I think it was at Good Nights. It was in between bits. It just happened perfect where something with a waitress happened in the audience. I just stopped and looked, and I just started talking to the table. And I was scared to death, but it was I don't even know what I said, but it was kind of working. And I'm like, oh, okay, I think I can do this.
Yeah.
And I started taking more chances with it. And now what I like to do is because, there are certain, because like Trish, I'm a storyteller. So there certain people want to hear a story again. And they'll be mad if I don't tell a certain story. And so it's hard to really, put out too much new stuff in the beginning because you don't have room for it. They want to hear the pool story. They want to hear Dad mowing a bee's nest. They want to hear Hemi stuff. And so I kind of like use the improv skill now. Like I'll do all the stuff I want to get done out of the way. And then right probably around 35 minutes in, I'll kind of breathe and go, all right, now, what do y'all want to talk about?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a gift to watch him do it because I'll tell you, because Jon, we are lucky enough at what I know so far of doing this for how long we have is you can do the greatest hits, right? You can do the greatest hits of what people want to see. But there's something really exciting, and I'm getting better at it now of doing the new stuff and throwing it to the wall and see what sticks without having to work it out to like perfection. Because I used to be like, I'm going to perfect that before I go put it up, in a bigger room. And now it's like, why people throw this crap up on, people are up in their panties on Instagram doing crazy mess. And I'm over here worrying about this joke that needs to be perfected. Like, let it ride, sis. And I'm a little less precious. And I'm wondering if you've gotten a little less precious with, not that you've really been, you're always been good about trying stuff, but do you feel like you're getting a little more relaxed with, because you've got all new, I love the stuff with you living with your mom. God, it makes me joyful. And now the new marriage, I can't wait. I'm so excited. I can't wait to meet her.
Yeah. She's downstairs right now. We're going to go get in the hot tub after this.
Oh, what a time. And your backyard's, John's new house in Hickory is dreamy. It's so beautiful. I love it. I can't wait to come visit.
Well, we're going to, the people who had it before us, they're big into like horticulture-ness. What do you call that?
Oh, no, it is landscape to the hilt, honey. It is a time to be alive.
Stuff. I got ridiculed the other day. Someone goes like, how come you don't have any indigenous plants in your backyard? I go, I don't, what are you, no one ever in the world would ever make fun of me for, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then I found myself defending the people who put it there. I'm like, well, I mean, indigenous is everywhere else. Maybe they want something different back here. Anyway, it's insane. But that's how crazy social media is. But yeah, no, I'm loving to answer your question, Precious, about I think a lot of comedians today are making the mistake of putting up, and even this has changed a little bit, but putting up content that's not, it's not the content so much, but the way it's a tiny camera in the back of the room. It's not lit great. The audience, you can hear a table talking over your jokes over here. You can tell it's a Tuesday. There's not. It just, and it makes them look bad, even though the content might be good. It just doesn't make them look good and they just can't wait to show the world, look, I'm a comedian. I'm like, well, just hold up, wait.
You still need that time. You still need to do time.
Yeah.
And do you find the balance hard of what you're going to put out on socials and what you're going to hold back so that the audience doesn't, I mean, that's the hardest thing.
100%.
Do I burn it or do I save it?
That's what people are doing now. They're doing all crowd. They're only showing their crowd work. And so you'll see, I follow a lot of comedians and they're, the only thing they're uploading now is the crowd work. So they don't burn their material. But then people see that and they think, well, that's what comedy is now. So now when I go see Jon Reep, I get to yell at him because he needs me for his crowd work bit.
I know, and I don't like that. Yeah.
I know there's this sweet spot that almost needs to happen in the middle where we just have like, it's like the old school Carol Burnett Q&A. Like there almost needs to be like, here, we'll take some Q&A now. Let us do our job because I don't want someone this isn't interactive. So that's the other weird part of it. But I'm like, our relationship is I'm here to make you forget about if you've had a junky day or feel good, or that's my jam for you. I don't want you to feel better when you leave me and you had a good time. We aren't in a dialogue.
Right. The art is not this conversation that we're
no.
We put time in. We've done a hard time to craft jokes.
Right.
So I don't know if the answer is a Q&A and then we get it out of their system and so that can
See, I'm always afraid of that because I think once you open the door for them to talk, it's hard to get them back out.
Preach on that.
Now we're all headliners in here. Do you tell your openers do not talk to the crowd?
I do if I get with someone who really does that a lot. If there's some little interaction, fine. But if they open that door, I'm like, let's close that for the rest of the week because 100%. I don't want it.
That's not the show I'm doing. And I've got, and to me, and I know this is an old school mentality, and I learned this from Joan Rivers, because Joan Rivers only crowd worked if it was to reprimand, if you really watch Joan, because Joan had work. And I'm not a joke teller like Joan. Joan jokes.
Yeah.
But she's like, don't go in the crowd unless you don't have anything.
Yeah.
And so I'd be like, oh, Lord, I've got to get an act jammed up and jelly tight. Because I was like, I didn't never want Joan to be in the back of the room at the Improv and be like, who's this hussy? I was like, I've got to have a set.
Yeah.
And I know that that's old school fear, but it also made me work harder at having something to say. And I think that that's also lost anymore. Some people just think it's therapy. And I'm like, I'm all for some therapeutic moments. Don't get me wrong, but that's not really what comedy's a skill set and a gift to give to others. So,
I've had to tell openers, like, I'm like you, Karen. Well, if it's a Thursday night, they'll come up to me. Let's say I'm there Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They'll go Thursday night. They'll be like, hey, is there anything you want me to say about you, or you don't want me to say anything you do? I say, do you? I'm going to watch you, and then I'll tell you what you can do after that. And then normally it's like they're fine. But I've had a couple times. I've only had to fire. You want to hear a good one? I had to fire.
Can't wait. I'm in. Because Karen and I can't quit the gyms.
Yeah, right. That's right.
I'm like, oh my God, I would go into a ditch if I had to fire another comic. So I have to hear this story. Y'all, how great is Jon Reep? Oh my gosh, we're having so much fun with him. I know that was a cliffhanger, but stay tuned because there is a whole part 2 to this great episode with Jon Reep. I hope y'all are having as much fun as we are.